Yeah, I've got chat. Hey guys, so we've got someone. Okay, we're up. Sweet. All right. Well, hello everybody. Thank you all for your patience today. I know we're running a little bit late, some technical difficulties, but this is being streamed on the Beings of the Light YouTube channel. So I'll do a brief introduction of myself. I'm Kimberley Leite. I channel the Beings of the Light. So this is the first Ascension Roundtable premiere, and it's going to be all about Ascension symptoms. And I'm really looking forward to this discussion. I am joined by panelists. We've got Roxanne, we've got Nikki, we've got Max, we've got Isabelle, and we've got Daniel. And so basically today we're going to start with, I'm going to go through everybody and everyone give a little bit of a debrief about who you are. And with that, I'm going to do a light language alchemy activation for you all. So this is a very, we would say, it's a very strong activator. So basically it involves me channeling healing ascension source codes. I channel the Elohim. And it basically activates dormant DNA. It helps to bring more light into your cells, helps to significantly raise your frequency. Those of you who are psychically sensitive, you may actually feel and see things during this session. So I thought that's a good way to start the session. I also imprint the session with intentions. So, guys, here today, what do you guys want to be the attention for the light language alchemy today? Would it be to help us with ascension symptoms, for us to activate more of the rememberings of our life purpose, for instance? Yeah. How do you guys feel about that?
That sounds great. I like that last one. Yeah.
Wonderful. So we'll do that, and we'll do that. And then after I finish that, I'll just open it up to all of you, and we'll discuss ascension symptoms, exactly what they are. If you guys want to share any personal experiences of ascension symptoms. And then what we'll do is that after that segment, we'll open it up to you guys, the audience, and you can pop your questions in the chat. And then once we've done that, I will, we'll close, and then we'll give you some tips about how to deal with ascension symptoms. Okay. So, before I do the light language, I'll open up to everybody. So those of you know about me, I channel the Beings of the Light. I'm an ascension teacher, light language alchemist, Reiki therapist. So, open up to whoever wants to speak. Nikki, you're on screen.
Hi,
Tell
everybody.
the audience a little about you.
Sure. First of all, here I am in France at 11:30 at night, normally my bedtime, but I'm happy to be here with you. I'm a hypnotherapist and energy therapist. I do channel Mary Magdalene. And yeah, I've been a light worker for a while and on this spiritual path, and I'm happy to be joining like-minded people tonight. Good to be here.
Wonderful.
I'll pop in. Hello, everyone. I am Isabelle Zimmerman. I am an Ascension teacher, and I do past life regressions, and I even have a podcast around it. I also have an online psychic course to help you connect with your inner being, because I'm all about magic. That is my focus, and the Ascension. Thank you so much, Kimberly. I have been with Kimberly for a while now on her channel. You might recognize me. And I think it's fun. I think this topic is needed to be discussed because a lot of you are not aware of the ascension symptoms. They are real and they're not a figment of your imagination. Roxanne, would you like to pop in next?
Oh, sure. Nice segue. Thank you. I was like, who's going to go next? Hi, everyone. My name is Roxanne. I'm a channeler for about 8 years now. Odyssey of Ascension is my little dealio there. I channel a whole bunch of different ideas, beings, and, not one major collective. But I have favorites, Sylvester, Osifius, Buford, a couple other here and there. And I think my main focus is understanding the journey itself as far as a perspective of separation And how you can recognize those things in ascension symptoms is looking at that as part of a journey, but not something that has to be opposed, but more experiential. So we work on those things. And so, yeah, thanks for letting us be here, Kim, and let's rock. I'm good. Max, you want to go?
Max, you're muted.
Yeah, yes, sorry. I was checking the old link, and it's people are still there because I can't share the new link. I don't know why I cannot access to the chat anymore.
Should I do that then?
Yeah, please try, because
Why don't you do that, Kim?
Well, you discuss, and then I'll work on that. Or and
yeah, thank
any
you.
other panelists today, we can work with that and get it going. All right, go ahead, Max.
Yes, all right. So I'm in Switzerland, and I'm working. So I'm channeling mainly what I call the angelics. I don't give them names. I'm not really into names. So for me, they are the angelics. And so I'm in Switzerland, Europe. And yeah, it's a new day, it's a new adventure, and this is amazing to be here. Thank you to all of you for putting this together.
Okay, so that's my turn, obviously. My name is Daniel. I live in Houston, Texas. And I channel a collective called The Oracle, is what they call themselves. And I primarily channel in written form. And I've been on a consciousness journey of spirituality for the last couple of years.
Wonderful. All right, guys.
Did you manage to share the link?
I'm just doing that now.
Hey, guys out there, and that's on this YouTube. Thanks for hanging out with us and letting us get through this.
Yeah, thanks so much, guys, for your patience. Guys, this is the first live YouTube as well. So there was a little bit of kinking, easing the kinks here, and look, we're on live. I'm just joining now. So guys, just have patience if you are watching from this. So guys, you guys discuss a little bit. I'm just going to have a few minutes just to get in, copy the paste. So guys, if you want to open up just a little bit about the topic, and I'll let you guys know once I've popped the link in.
Okay, so ascension symptoms, what are they? Should you go see a doctor? Are you dying? What is going on with your body? Roxanne liked that one.
I have to say that I was so happy when Isabelle told me that Kimberly thought she had Alzheimer's, because I was having huge gaps where, like, I think of like a movie star, but I'd see the face, but I couldn't connect the name. And this was going on, and it was a little secret in my head. I wasn't telling anybody because I was Googling what are the early symptoms, right? And then when you told me that Kimberly was also, like, quite a few people were having the similar symptoms, it was such a relief, because that's a hard one, because the brain is something we count on, not always the body can sometimes fail us, but the brain is something I count on. And that was one. And then now it's just, I'm like super, super tired. Like, I slept 9 hours last night. So I'm really, really sleepy and tired. That's what's been going on with me.
Yeah, I think Kimberly wasn't alone. A lot of common ascension symptoms are rashes. So interesting.
Oh, I had that too. All over my face. I actually went to the dermatologist. Yep, rash.
Yeah, rashes are a big one. My personal favorite has been teeth. I've had a lot of teeth issues, but I don't know if it's necessarily an ascension symptom. So let me just preface what an ascension symptom is. An ascension symptom can being an underlying issue that your body is giving a messenger that wants you to address. So you can, like, you know, a reoccurring belief can cause cancer, not cause cancer, but manifest as cancer. Or you have back issues because you don't feel supported, or you're holding yourself back. And there are energetic meanings to it. So one of the things that I do, if I have anything going along with my body and I go within and it's too much fear for me, I might Google up what is the metaphysical reason for plantar fasciitis or whatever it is. Okay. But an ascension symptom is also a messenger from the divine and your inner being, but it tends to be very quick. It tends to be like a short period of your time. One of the common ones that I get is dizziness. I get really, really dizzy. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to ground myself like right now. And it will come out of nowhere sometimes. One of the biggest ascension day for me was actually this past October 31st. And that was because we were going through a portal. Yes, and there are portals. Welcome to the ascension. So there are portals and dimensions, and there are light codes being activated, and we are moving, our body is moving from a carbon-based form to a crystalline body. And so you will have these symptoms where you either feel nauseous or dizzy or very tired, or you don't sleep and you're wide awake for days on end. That has been my experience. There are no one-way ascensions. It is all it's all your own journey, guys. It's okay. But I just didn't want you to think you were going crazy, because it does seem to be very common during this ascension. Because I get to talk to a lot of my friends, I am seeing patterns, just like human development, that a lot of us go through ascension symptoms. Would anyone else like to add to that?
Well, I would just say that, firstly, I just want to say hello, everybody that's rejoined. The new link is in the old, the scheduled meetings. So welcome, everybody, and thank you for your patience in joining the session today. Of course, everything happens in divine time. So even us running late was perfect, and it's supposed to happen this way. But yes, with ascension symptoms, I thought let's get into it a little bit. I thought after we do the light language alchemy activation session, because I'm sure all of you guys have a lot to share about ascension symptoms. And yes, exactly what Isabelle said. There's a lot happening as well with the collective, and the ascension symptoms have been intensified over the last year, but I really want to delve into that after the light language. So if you guys feel is the right time, let's all sit back. So all of you that is watching this today, I'll ask you just to close your eyes, just to get comfortable. Understand that this session can activate lots of energy. So bear in mind, you might need to grab some water afterwards. So I don't know if you have some water on standby next to you. So I recommend that. So with this session, I'm going to go into trance. So I'm going to channel the Elohim. And so as I discussed before, I know some of you missed the start of this. So basically I channel healing ascension source codes. The activators helps to activate dormant DNA in our structures, helps to bring more light into the cells, helps to transmute programs within us are no longer required. It's basically, how to describe it, is meditation on steroids, all right? Very powerful. Those of you who are psychically sensitive might feel certain things happening within your body. You might actually see certain visions as well that's occurring. If you don't have these experiences, that's perfectly fine. It's still working. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to imprint it as well. So it has these foundational benefits, and as well as that, I can imprint it, program the session with the intention. So we had a little discussion before with the panelist, and we thought the best intentions for today would be for me to imprint it with all of us here today, and whoever is watching this in the future, that this session will actually assist you with easing the ascension symptoms that you are experiencing, and also help to further activate the remembrance of who we are in our life purpose, and to assist to have all these divine and psychic gifts come online in our conscious awareness, because that's what's happening, and that's ultimately why we're having such strong ascension symptoms at the moment. So just to ease us into this process, and yeah, so guys, those of you out there, I just ask you now to sit back, close your eyes, relax. It'll be very brief. We'll probably maybe go for around just like 10 minutes or something like that. Let's just go with the flow here. And I'll actually invite Roxanne. She's an amazing flute player. So I'm just going to get her to start playing the flute while I go into the trance state. And then I've got my little bell over here. So then when that plays, I'll start the channeling portion. The start might involve a little bit of guided meditation just to get you into that place of surrender. And then we'll start the tuning. So guys, if you want, grab some water and then we shall begin. So Roxanne, over to you.
Take a deep breath.
As you inhale source energy, as you exhale all that is no longer needed, as you exhale doubts, your fears, as you exhale any densities within you that is no longer required. As you inhale life force energy, exhale what is no longer required. Make the intention to let go what no longer serves you. And with each inhalation breath, feel your body becoming lighter and lighter. Feel your body radiate with divine light. Allow your body to relax, to surrender. Allow your body to surrender to the breath. Focus now on your heart center. Envision your heart center as a brilliant golden light, a brilliant golden flame. As you breathe in, sense this golden flame within you expand throughout your entire being. As you exhale, see the flame become brighter and brighter. And as you continue on this conscious breath practice, now envision this golden flame expand to encapsulate your entire being. As you now feel your body vibrate with the energy of your source self, feel your body becoming lighter and lighter. Now envision yourself standing in the center of your heart center. As you envision yourself standing there, open your heart. As you look around you, and as you look around you, all you see is brilliant golden white light. You are now standing in the center of your heart space, the center of the gateway of your source essence, your soul self. As you stand there, open your heart and declare to yourself that you are open and that you are ready to receive the activations that will allow you to connect more to your source essence, that will allow you to move more smoothly through the ascension symptoms, to allow you to further activate your divine abilities that are already there waiting for you to have activated in your conscious awareness. Surrender to the light codes that allow you to connect to who you are and your source essence. It was Take a deep breath in. Exhale. With each breath, make the intention to come to the present moment of awareness. As you begin to ground Envision roots coming from the bottom of your feet as they grow deep into the heart of Mother Gaia. See the roots enter into the brilliant rose golden light of the heart of Mother Gaia. As she sends her love back to you, as you give her thanks, give yourself thanks for this allowance of connection. As you feel this grounding energy move back up the roots of your eternal connection, feel the energy now re-enter your body and come into your heart space. As you breathe, as you exhale, start to have awareness of these sounds, have awareness of outside of your being, as you now vibrate in a higher dimension of consciousness, as you now are connected with your source essence. Feel the connection, feel the lightness. This is your place of connection. When you are ready, you may open your eyes. It is our honor to connect with you in this sacred practice. Well, hello everybody and welcome back after this transmission. I hope all of you have now recentered and have gained some awareness of the activations that have taken place. The activations will continue past this session. Your body will go through a detox process. So guys, if you haven't already, drink some water. You might have the need to drink more water as a result of this session. So I'll just give you all a moment to grab some water. I'm going to do the same. And then we shall begin. All right, guys. Well, welcome again to the first premiere of the Ascension Roundtable, which will be talking about ascension symptoms. So you are watching this live, you'll be able to also watch this back on this channel. And I'm sure the other panelists here joining today will also share this recording in their communities. So you'll not miss out on this session today, wherever you are joining or whenever you are joining. Okay, so as we just spend a few minutes getting everybody prepared for the session that's happening now. So ascension symptoms, I guess I'll just begin and then I'll open it up to all of you who wish to share. So ascension symptoms. I would like to talk about also ascension symptoms as a system. So it is part of an ascension system. And I would like to discuss as well the dynamics here in relations to ascension symptoms. So we have purging symptoms as what I've called them. Well, the information has come through me. They've named it as purging symptoms and ascension symptoms. So I'd just like to break that down just a little bit before I open it up as well. So, all right. As you are all well aware, The collective is going through a collective shifts of consciousness. You know, you have named this, you know, the great awakening of consciousness. So everybody is basically remembering who they are and why they're here. Through times past, you know, we've called these the golden ages or the new earth, however you like to call it. So because of this great collective shift, we as a collective are required to let go of programs that no longer serve us. These programs are our limiting beliefs. These are our traumas. These are programs within us that have served us. So again, there is nothing wrong. All the fear that you have, the trauma that you have, all these limiting beliefs and programs that you have stored within your energy field have been perfect because it served you for a purpose. So understand there is no wrong here, but also because we are wanting to activate more of the remembrances of who we are, we also are required to transmute that, right? So this is why there is so much happening on the collective level, because there is no separation. So that's why, for instance, 2020, and also this year, there's a lot of collective events that has catalyzed a lot of people in fear. And that is a representative of basically the collective shift of what's happening for the collective. So we are kind of forced in a way to have our inner shadows come to the surface for us to address it, to transmute it. This is happening on an individual level and a collective level. So if you're not aware of this personally with your own limiting beliefs that's coming to the surface, obviously you're watching this, so I would say that you would have awareness of this, but of course there are others out there that are not actively doing their shadow work, and this is still perfect. They will still become catalyzed because of the collective event. So it's collective shadows. So they'll get to a point where they will have to sooner or later address their shadows. So there comes the purging symptoms. So the purging symptoms, I'll describe them as a prelude to the ascension symptoms. It's all part of the same system. But I would define, there's many definitions out there. Everyone has unique experiences out there, but from experience and from all the information I've gathered, the purging symptoms are these limiting programs coming to the surface. So what does that mean? These can be emotions based on fear. So you might feel like irritated out of nowhere. Again, tiredness comes into play. Tiredness comes in also with ascension symptoms. You might also have now, because I've discovered, well, my personal experiences and others that I've talked to since last year, these ascension symptoms in general have become more physical in nature. So you might experience, like headaches and all sorts of interesting symptoms, like Isabelle was mentioning before, like rashes and all these kind of interesting things that's happening for us. So basically, this is our body reacting to these limiting beliefs and programs. So if we don't address it, if we don't address these fear programs that's coming to the surface, it will manifest in the physical body until we address it. So especially those of you who are very sensitive to energies and psychic energies, you might have more of a sensitivity to purging symptoms. So it might be out of nowhere. You're feeling irritated. All these kind of, you might have these memories of past trauma, past experiences in your past, and understand that this is perfect. You're not doing anything wrong. It's about allowing this to occur, to address it, to understand that you are just in the transmutation process. So basically, once you have these symptoms, once you can allow it to pass, by accepting it with a love frequency, because as you accept something, you're seeing what's happening from a dimension of love, which is who you truly are. That'll help ease the symptoms. And then once you've gone through the purging of that, what happens, and you might experience what we call as ascension symptoms. Now, a lot of these symptoms can be kind of overlapped, but I don't know, you guys, and I'll open up to you guys if we can discuss this, but the most obvious sign that you experience is feeling high energy. So it can come out of nowhere, and this is after you've let go of those programs. So what happens? You've kind of transmuted those programs. It means that you've let go of those kind of denser energies. It means your energy field is able to activate new higher dimensions within you. So then you kind of go to this process, and when you're kind of going to a higher dimensional state of consciousness, but understand all dimensions all within us. It's just like our physical body is kind of recalibrating to this high dimension of consciousness. So you know, it's been described as kind of like this, you know, vortex gate, this magnetic vortex gate as we enter like a new higher dimension of existence. So there are many different ways people can experience this, and I'll open up to you guys. But I know like feeling high out of nowhere is a common one. Like you could just be randomly doing anything, watching TV, and all of a sudden you get this wave of feeling high over you, waves of feeling this like unconditional love. Extreme tiredness is one of them as well. But yeah, there's many symptoms associated with that. I mean, like when was this? Last Friday, you know, me myself was going through like, you know, ascension symptoms. It was very interesting. Extreme tiredness, not big, feeling really nauseous. And even on the, when was this? Was this Friday, over the weekend? It was so interesting. I even had, like, I've never had this before, and I have very physical ascension symptoms now, but I've had these extreme, like, chest pains, and it lasted for like 15 minutes. And because I knew what was happening, I was able to not panic. Of course, you know, there was no like numbness. I'm like, okay, am I having a heart attack? No, I'm not having a heart attack. That's good. Tick that off straight away. But yeah, I came out of nowhere, just this kind of pain in my heart, and was just intuitively knew what to do. I envisioned this golden light coming into it. And as soon as I did that, the pain just dissipated. So this is just one example of like physical ones that can occur, because I guess just the feeling tiredness and the dizziness, these are kind of things that we can all manage. When it comes to a physical ascension symptom, sometimes that can confuse us, and they can actually make us worry, like, do I actually have like a medical issue, right? So of course, in line of all this, if, you know, use your intuition, of course, seeking, you know, mainstream medical assistance, you know, might be beneficial as well, but, you know, we'll delve into this further. So anyway, that's just some examples of what I go through. And yeah, so it's just about allowing these processes to occur. It's giving evidence to you that you are ascending. It's giving evidence to you that you are remembering your abilities. And, you know, with my recent ascension symptoms, I mean, like since the beginning of last year, I've been going through waves of them. So it's like endless for me. But anyway, this recent lot, they have told me that it's because I'm activating more psychic abilities within me. And that's why I'm going through such, you know, I've been going through like these intense symptoms, you know, because the collective is also going through this. So just let you know before I open it up to everybody, you know, you're not alone in this. Everyone's going through this. Some of you might experience symptoms that are more intense than others. Some of you may be on the purging stage and might be having very difficult emotions come to the surface. Some of you might have transmuted that already and into the waves of love process. But understand you can go back and forth, because we as a collective are ascending. So I guess what we perceive as so intensely. Because we're all master teachers here, we're all masters here. So we wanted to remember who we are. And that's why we're having these ascension symptoms. See, even me, I need to ground myself. Anyway, I'll open it up to you guys. And yeah, whoever wants to share it, yeah, go ahead and share your experiences, any information you want to share with the audience today.
Yes, Kimberly, I would like to share, well, first of all, and this is going to relate to a download that I received that I would like to share with all of you. So not only for me, but for my husband, last week, we were just like what we call them la-la, just could not function. And specifically, my husband described the experience as kind of not quite being here.
Mm-hmm.
And also even likened it to the birth process when the child is halfway out of the mother and halfway, you know, into the world and still inside the mother. That's how he described it. So I'm going to give you the download and then how that relates to ascension symptoms. So just briefly, so just imagine I was shown, because they show me visuals, an anthill. So this is everybody going about their daily business, right? Doing the shopping, going to work, yada, yada. So then those within, well, I guess not the hive, because ants aren't in a hive, but in the collective who are starting to awaken, they then go to a carousel. So they showed me like a carousel at the zoo, like what we have at the Houston Zoo. So, and this is the start of the quote unquote ascension experience. So On the carousel, you have some that are stationary. They don't move up and down, they're stationary. So when you're a baby brand new to the Ascension, you get put on that part of the ride, okay? And then when you grow into your awakening and your consciousness, then you get put onto the ones that move up and down. So this is this very gentle up and down in the polarity, right? But it's really not a scary ride. You're just starting to really feel and attune to that polarity, okay? Well, then you graduate from that, and now you're on the big roller coasters and doing this, and this is what a lot of us here on the panel, and I'm sure many of you watching are experiencing, right? But guess what? You're on that roller coaster ride, but you're also still the ant going about its daily business, okay? So what they told me was that when we experience things like the portals opening up, the changes in the Schumann resonance, the speeding up of time as Gaia makes her own ascension and going through the multiverse, then what happens is that this sheer energy, you could almost imagine like we have this thick atmosphere over us. Imagine that like the illusion, right? Well, some of that gets shorn off and it gets thinner, just like the veils, it gets thinner. Suddenly, you attune to one frequency of your vibration, all of those open up at once. And this is what causes the disorientation, the physical manifestations, the ascension symptoms, the tiredness and the fatigue. That's what's really going on. And what they told me, just to, I guess, put a cap on that, is that we're all multidimensional beings, whether or not we're aware of it, right? But here's the thing, we're still anchored into a third dimensional reality with this physical structure. So when we start to really come into awareness of our multidimensional beingness, it's painful for the body. It's confusing for the body. The body gets tired. The body starts to ache or develop rashes, right? And what I was told is that there will be a day when we all ascend to a point to where it's not going to be painful and we're not going to go through these ascension symptoms as much anymore. But this is where we're at individually and collectively.
Thanks, Daniel. That was a great explanation from the Oracle team. And I love the carousel idea. Because that's true. It did feel like gentle at first, you know, even though I freaked out, but it did, looking back on it. But yeah, that's great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Who's next?
I'll go with some ideas. So when I woke up, I guess it was 2013, I was with a guided meditation group, and you know, I was in there and they're like these, they're awake, and you know, and I'm kind of awake. My only idea was Jiddu Krishnamurti, reading JK, just became Roxanne a year and a half earlier, starting to find my way of myself and run into this masterful group. And right before I really start waking up, I had 2 weeks of a nastiest cold I've ever had. And I don't get sick. Flu shot, I won't take. Take the flu shot, get sick. Don't take the flu shot, don't get sick. Last flu shot, 1995. No sick, none, zero. Until 2013, I guess, right before. Not even a cold. Sniffle, nah. No sore throat. So here comes this, and it was like Union Pacific, right? Just hitting me. 202 cars at 70 miles an hour, just smashed me. So I'm out for the count, and every single one of my joints hurt. Well, I couldn't walk. I was crawling up the stairs. And I had Republican parents, so they didn't care about me. Did I say that? Oh my God. So anyways, They just were like, you can go to that. You know, I had the VA, I'm a military, so I had the thing, but I just played it out. I just had this thing, played it out. I called Wayne. She goes, it looks like you're getting a spiritual flu, big assumption symptom, relax, you're waking up, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, cool. So over the years, after that, I've never had that sickness again. But what I did is go through one thing I want to say. When Kimberly said I had a heart, like, am I having a heart attack? I had one like that, and that was a really, really good one where I had to sit down, and I grabbed Tommy and I took him into the bedroom, and I sat down on the bed, and I waited about 10 minutes or something like that, and I asked myself this question, and I got a point, so stick with me. I asked myself, am I having a heart attack? And I said no. And that's who I trust. I trust my universe. So it's like we watch YouTube videos and people fall down and they do something and they're trying to do something. And immediately someone has, are you okay? And they go, yeah, I'm fine. We know pretty much. We know when we're, you know, we need an ambulance or something, we got to go ahead and make that move and go to a doctor. You know, by the way, a doctor is a god. He's not some bad person because he's a Western medicine doctor. He's a god having a human experience. So if you have a requirement for some medical attention, don't deny yourself, you know. But I didn't need it. And that was just another part. So a lot of the symptoms were reactionary at first because I've never been here. You know, we're taught to always know what the future is, to plan ahead, to be safe and secure, to make sure, to double plan, double check, blah, 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 blah. And the unknown is such a foreign place to us because we've made it that way. And as far as the collective ascension, it's not right or wrong. It's just a game, right? So in that itself, we are shocked when things happen. And when bad things happen or bad things, what's going on, my shoulder, this or that, you know, there's a relative relationship about honesty that you can use at that moment to look at that and notice that part about you. If it's an ascension symptom, do I need to go to the doctor? Am I changing frequencies? Because if you're changing frequencies, you're changing rooms. Let's go ahead and go into a dark room and then let's go into a bright room. It's a different experience. So if we're changing frequencies, our bodies are going to interact with those frequencies and differentiations that don't see the commonality of your memory. So therefore, you're having a time of change. And that change might be abrupt to the singularity. And you want to know what the hell is going on. Headaches, dizziness, vertigo, joking, got to sit down. And these things are common, but they pass through. So just keep going with them, allow them, surrender to them. I like the word surrender, give in, be humbled enough to know that you don't have to manage change. Change is taken care of by law of attraction. Being is an existence that doesn't have to be handled, but you can relate and journey as your choice, of course. But when these things are coming, know what they are from an ascension point of view, a self that is going through, as Daniel said, you know, it starts out like that, but the more light you become, the more bright you become to people. And a lot of those people are like blinded by your awesomeness and they don't like you sometimes. So you say, okay, I know I'm talking to a fractal, have a Coke and a smile, bye-bye. And you keep going on, you're awesome. And that awesome comes along and you go through those larger enlightenments because you're enlightening your kingdom, right? So you're seeing, wow, that's mine and that's mine. And you pass through those transfigurations. As Kimberly said, you transmute them, you pass through them, you allow them to become known to you as an experience instead of keeping it outside of you as a pushing away, which keeps that resistance alive. And then it gets all yucky and thick in your body and you're all heavy. And so you work with that, right? So symptoms themselves is because you're shifting frequencies. When you don't symptoms, you have human problems back and forth between polarity, and maybe you get ill, maybe you do this, maybe you do that, but pretty much the humans just get through life, you know. But we're not in the relationship to the human standard. We're shifting to a focus. We're sowing and reaping our interest in ascending a species through the singularity, and that is an unknown charted ground. I don't care what book is in history. That ain't my book, and it's not my kingdom. It's your kingdom. So we're exploring the unknown, but we share in commonality the group or the collective focus of that. So when you get surprised, be honest about it. Allow it to pull through you. If you need to reach out, reach out. You need to go to Hickory Dickory Doc. Go see the doc. Okay? There's nothing embarrassing about your creation. Don't be an inconvenience to yourself. Okay? So when they come, be them, and whatever they are, which they come in lots of forms, you just know, oh, okay, now this is what the panel was talking about. Hey, I got Roxanne on speed dial. Let me call her. Or I know Kimmy. Hey, Kimmy, can you talk to me about this? So be that person that goes through and allow your light to offer the change in the collective. So the collective, as we are doing, continues its evolution. Okay, I think I'm good. Next.
Who wants to pop in next? Yeah.
Thank you, Roxanne. No, I don't need to pop in next. Max or Nikki, what you want to comment on ascension symptoms?
Actually, I do want to say I just loved what Roxanne had to say, because you know, sometimes I have spiritual pride. And so when something weird, like I have a lapse in memory or something like that, it never occurred to me that it could be part of an ascension symptom. And yeah, I was in my own little bubble in my fear, and I wasn't telling anybody. And then just by chance, you know, Isabelle, you mentioned it. And just to like really fess up. So yesterday I put the milk for my coffee in the cabinet with the cat food. And then today I had lunch with a friend, and we had ice cream and cookies, and I put the ice cream in the fridge. I never do stuff like that. So it feels really safe to be here with you talking about this. And then I just wanted to say thank you for, you know, clarifying really like purging and ascension. I know it's part of the same system. Most of 2020 was a purging for me, really. Like deep, dark souls of the night, lots of emotion. And even if I have the physical symptoms now, I do feel a lot calmer and emotionally stable. So you switch one in for the other, but still, yeah, for some reason I can handle the physical with more ease, or perhaps more acceptance. Yeah.
Nikki, can I just share something about with your memory?
Yeah.
I have to share a funny story with this memory lapses, right? Because I know Isabelle talked to me and her privately about stuff that's been happening with me. But over Christmas, I have to share, it's so funny. Okay, so with the memory thing, my God, okay. I didn't know how to take something hot out of the oven. Yes. There was something in the oven, and my brain was like, how do I take this out of the oven? And I had the mitt, and I was trying to be like, I for some reason I couldn't like understand how to take something hot out of the oven. So yeah, things like this can happen, and it's okay. You don't have Alzheimer's. You're not going crazy. It's okay. Okay. Basically, we lose our memory. Like we sometimes, our cognitive, you know, like our literal thinking is because as well, because it's information it's not as really important to us in now. And you know, information I've received is that we as a collective are now navigating from our heart center now. We're moving into the heart space. Instead of thinking our way through reality, it's now feeling and acting on the knowing. So when it comes to memories, when it comes to just how to like function every day in physical reality, you know, all that kind of habitual stuff, if it's no longer serves us, it can, you know, we don't need to access it. And now it's kind of like teaching us to explore physical reality from the knowing, you know, from an intuitive sense, right? So if you're one of those people who like me and Nikki experience some, you know, memory lapses, so to speak, it's okay, you know. Even me, my husband has like jokes with me, you know, because like he knows my memory's going. It's okay. It's all right, because I trust that if I'm supposed to know something, I'm supposed to remember something, I'll receive it. I'll receive that information, whether it's a vision or just like, oh yeah, like I'll receive that in the moment. So I've kind of, even though I was a bit like annoyed at it at the start because it got quite intense over like December, I'm able to ease into it. Now it doesn't happen as much. I'm just able to live more in the present moment. So understand that our whole navigation system, like thinking our way through the analytical mind, that's now being brought, and we are now navigating our reality from the heart center, from the what we call as divine feminine energies. It's the intuitive sense. So this is kind of like a transition, right? So that's why some of us might have these kind of lapses and, I used to be able to operate this way, but I can't operate that way anymore. It's because we're shifting so much, right, on a collective level. So anyway, that's my 2 cents on the memory thing. But yeah, I'm with you, Nikki, on that. Max, do you have anything else you want to talk about?
Yeah, let me come in here about the symptoms. It's interesting. I'm going to link 2 things. One is the symptoms, the physical symptoms. I think I don't remember when it was, but I went through 2 times. I had my head exploding. Literally, my head exploded. The second time we were in Spain, and I was just laying down, and then I had my head exploding, and just second after that, I stand up and I look back in the bed to be sure that my body was not laying there, that I was still alive. And I link these symptoms, heart, head, a lot of other things. And then I noticed other things coming in, which are dreams or a dream state, encountering this kind of thing with informations about whatever, where one realizes that something has shifted. Suddenly, some information, some stuff that were not, let's say, available before become there, right, noticed and available. And in my experience, for example, is that some months after that, I was going through a state where I was keep seeing the same publicity, the same web links on Facebook and everywhere, and suddenly I said, okay, all right, it's all the time saying, let's try that. And when I tried that, suddenly I received other information, and at the end I've discovered people like Roxanne. So there is, without going into saying, oh, that is why this happened, but suddenly there are things that are coming together, and with these ascension things, right? Awareness, symptoms, and there is this other aspect of realization and self-discovery that suddenly it's there, you have it. And you are able to do these things that just before you wouldn't have noticed, you wouldn't have accepted it, because you obviously were not ready yet. But this ascension that follows, or that is there, then opens the door, let's say, at least.
Yeah, that's wonderful examples, Max, and all of you. But yeah, it's, and we'll open it up in a minute to live Q&A. So if you guys have any particular questions around ascension symptoms, start popping up in the chat now, if you like, and then we'll go through and answer them. So yeah, some interesting, and Isabelle, she knows, I've talked with her a lot about some are so crazy. Like, I remember last year, I even had a black tongue. Like, what the F, like for 3 days, I'm like, my tongue is black. What is going on? I've had, the rashes. Yes, I still have a rash. I'm going through like a detox at the moment. So I've got this rational, it's just so interesting. And Daniel, a good point that you said, and it's a common thing that I experience. You said that you feel like you're in between, yeah? Like you feel like you're in between dimension. I feel this as well. So this is a good sign that you're actually moving into a high dimensional frequency. It's like, because it's like you're in this vortex gate, like a magnetic vortex. And because you're sort of like in between dimensions, because it's like your physical vessel is like realigning and calibrating to a higher energy frequency, because your body is also intelligent. Anyway, in this it kind of feels like a gap. It's true. You don't feel like you're in reality. It feels like you're not in this reality or any reality. It's like you're floating. It's like you're in between dimensions. And, I felt this. I know Isabelle has felt this. You felt it. It is another common symptom. And it's very interesting because it feels like you're just floating. And so it's like the more you just have awareness of what's happening in your body and your energetic field, the more you'll be able to sensitize to what's actually happening. Like with the purging symptoms and the ascension symptoms, they go hand in hand. But it's even when you've gone through a round of this, it could be like 1 week later and you're doing the rounds again. Like it's nothing to say that just because you've gone through this, it's not going to happen again. There's waves of it, and I've experienced waves of it. Like it's been like one after another for me. It seems like it's closer together. Whereas before 2020, I don't know about you guys, it feels more spread out. And now since last year, it's like boom, like really intense. But guys, pop your questions in the comments. And all of you panelists here today, do you guys have chat? I have chat on my phone. Do you guys have the chat open? If not, I can just read them from my phone. So Max has it. Do any of you guys have it open? If not, me and Max can just read out the questions. I have it on my phone here. So guys, pop in your questions. Pop in your questions, and we'll open it up to whoever wants to answer it. So guys, having a look now.
Say something real quick.
Yes, Roxanne, go ahead.
A couple on what Max was saying. You remember that there's a Jim Carrey movie called The Yes Man. So what he did is stop saying no. That's all he did, right? He started to be a different choice in the reality. So if you want to experience ascension, make different choices, because ascension doesn't look like a destination. It's a change of relationship with self. It's the self of obligation to the self of natural. And the natural is a self that's unique to you, and you can't standardize you. You're not a scripture. You're not a structure. You're an unconditional being creating realities, exploring forever, that kind of thing. But you have a nature about you, a signature, a way about you. I'm a Sagittarian. Maybe that's why I came into the Sagittarian, because I'm a fire sign. I'm naturally, I'm there. First one, hey, who wants to go? Me, I'll go because that's what it is here. So if you want to know what you are and experience the change of ascension symptoms, choose your truth. And it doesn't mean your joy all the time. It doesn't mean the emotional joy. It means your truth. Sometimes your truth is telling people no. Sometimes the truth is, no, I'm not going to do this. Sometimes, despite what you said, I'm going to make this choice because it fits here, not here. When Kimberley says we're leaving this, we're going to this, navigating the reality with the intuition self, we're not very good at that. Why? Because the game is set up for separation, and we covet belief systems through the personalities. We're handed religions. We're handed political stances. We're handed, what people think of us because the color of our skin. It's a master game, blah, blah, blah. But when you start to take hold of your universe and your worthiness, you're going to experience those changes because you're literally disintegrating the structures that you were enforced and validated through a lifetime of being with humans, right? And then the light bearers are the ones that are the light of change, and you're going to experience that change. So if I experience something like that, then I can offer it through authenticity and not some theorist because I read it in a book and I have a degree on the wall. It's because I lived it. And those people will come to your universes and say, hey, you know, I'm wondering about this, and you know that, and you live that because you went through that ascension symptom. So those people will come into your life because you're the experiencer and the transfigurer of that. So when you start to choose your awesome, and remember, awesome doesn't look like anything. I can't say that enough because awesome is your kingdom. It's not anyone else's. We live in diversity, not commonality. We're already one. It's a law. I don't have to make anyone like me or anything like that because that would be boring if all the same. We live through diversity. So find that uniqueness in yourself and represent that, and you'll see the changes within your kingdom. You will go through those vibrational contexts that will validate ascension symptoms. So very good, Max. That was really, really a total different take on it, on the perspective of the change within your frequency without labeling it. Just being a different self creates a different reality, creates different awarenesses of the past self or the structured self as opposed to the exploring self, the creative self. Very good, Max. Anyways,
Yeah.
go ahead.
No, that's another, I love what you said, Roxanne. And yeah, it also as well, as we just wait for comments, so guys, pop any questions you might have in the comments in the chat of this live stream and we'll answer them. Yeah, so with the, you guys were talking about like the dimension change, understand as well that like all those dimensions are already within us. It's like we attract that higher frequency, and because of law of attraction, once we then basically activate and attract that high dimension, which is us going through those ascension symptoms. Those of you who are sensitive to feel those symptoms, because we then exist in a higher dimensional frequency, it's like our reality shifts accordingly. So everything in our reality shifts to match that dimensional frequency. So you'll find another sign, once you have sort of like going through your ascension symptoms, you will see your actual outwardly reality, your reality, physical reality shift accordingly. So things might, like for instance now, and those of you watching this, you know, you are the light workers and the way showers. You wouldn't be here otherwise, right? You have gifts within you to share. And it's collectively, those of the light workers and way showers, you know, we're activating a lot of our abilities now, our divine, our galactic abilities, right? The wisdom within us. So it's really, you'll see things shifting. Like I know for me, for instance, like Nikki was saying as well, like 2020, there was a lot of purging. For me, I think a lot of people had experienced this, like a lot of shadows that even though we felt like we've done the work, it feels like there was a lot of stuff that is now ready to come through because, you know, all our shadows are for us too. There's nothing wrong with our shadows, but they no longer serve us, like not because of our stage of awakening. So if they're still with you, they're still for you for a reason. It's about accepting them, loving them, by seeing them, they're for you for a reason because our gifts are there. But, you know, as we move through these dimensions, like even for me now that I've kind of had these recent ascension symptoms, this other wave, things are happening so fast for me. Like, as in like, you know, my work, there's more projects coming and there's more, you know, everything seems to be fast. The energy is fast now because, you know, now as those of you, the light workers and the way showers, we're being called to now speak our truth, now being called to step into our power. So this is why some of you might feel this energy shift as well. Like if you are experiencing ascension symptoms right now, you might feel this kind of, I don't know, for me, it feels like energy is moving faster now, like go, 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 go. All these projects are coming in that it's like I'm being forced to openly do this work, you know, like at a faster pace than before. So if you feel a resistance there, if you do not feel like, okay, I'm not having a purging symptoms or ascension symptoms, I feel like nothing's happening, maybe perhaps look if you have any resistance within you, because I know some of the messages I've received is that if you are not already starting to have any abilities come online for you, the awareness, it could be a sign of resistance, which means it could be fear, but not just because you don't see yourself as worthy, as capable. It might just be that you're afraid, as a limiting belief, that you're actually afraid of your own power. So that can also be a limiting belief that's causing resistance. So the message I received was that everyone who has this calling, the light workers and the way showers, are now being activated. So yeah, look at the resistance. If you are not seeing anything happening for you, like as in ability wise, but also pay attention to your body and your senses, because you can't escape the ascension process. You know, of course, some of you who are more sensitive than others may feel the symptoms more than others, but even if it's just tiredness, you will feel it happening in your body. Just allow the process to unfold, and there's no rush here. Everything's happening according to the divine plan, to your divine plan. So don't compare your journey to any others on this journey, because you know, even if you're in, like, at the moment, like going through intense purging symptoms, for instance, and you can't seem to lift out of this, you know, negative feelings, understand it's part of your purpose. There's a reason why you're having this feeling. It's not wrong. You're not doing anything wrong. It's just, it's part of your process. And what I've discovered through, you know, even client sessions, I've discovered that even our fears, it's for us, because it's in exploring that fear. That's when we activate the remembrance of our soul purpose. That's when we activate our ability and become witness of just how powerful we are, how resilient we are. And that's what activates this awareness of who we are. So it's actually necessary to have shadows in this process. So it's okay if you've got fear, if you've got the negative emotions, it's for you. So to allow this process to unravel in the most smooth way, it's just to allow it, right? To let go of the resistance. So anyway, that's my little 2 cents. But
I want to jump in on two things, my sister. So if you're not having ascension symptoms, or your abilities you believe are not awakening, I would like to ask yourself, did you dismiss anything? Did you see something that was odd and you dismissed it? Like, that didn't happen. That must be my imagination. That's a coincidence. You know, dealing with the psychic energy is delicate. Psychic energy is very, very powerful, but I would say to you, at my perspective, it's a delicate energy, meaning it's not like physical. Like, we expect physical, like, you know, to be touched and grabbed and to hear. And when you start to channel, or when you start to awaken in your own abilities, it's noticing symbolism. It's noticing, wow, that's really weird that there's a butterfly inside my house during winter. Huh. And then you dismiss it. You know, even though if it's odd, you're like, oh, well, that's weird. I don't know how that happened. So that is part of the awakening. Just be aware. I say to all my friends, be a Scooby-Doo detective. Be curious. Pay attention to your body, pay attention to your surroundings. Don't dismiss it as it's nothing, because the more you accept it and the more that you play, guess what happens? You get more magic. So just play with it. Don't dismiss it. You're all awakening. It's all okay. It's fine. So I just wanted to hop in there to let people know that dealing with the psychic energy can be very subtle and
it is
dismissive.
And Isabelle, I've got a question for you. There's a question in the chat, and I just feel inspired that, you know, you'll be, you know, your expertise, you know, I thought this question is very much aligned to your teachings, because I know you talk about the crystalline body. So we have a question. Victoria wants to elaborate. She says, please expand on the carbon-based body, crystallized body. So since you're on screen now, do you have any things to share about that? Yes. So my team explained to me that our plasma in our blood is changing. It's actually changing shapes. It's actually getting a little thicker. And I know a lot of my friends out there going through the ascension tend to be a little heavier. And they're really curious as to why they've got like a little extra weight on them. And some people blame it on the COVID, but I also know that's insulation. So as we bring in more light,
your body might change a little bit to insulate that light, and your blood, your plasma is changing, and so much is changing. So go ahead and document it. I know when my awakening happened, my eye color changed, and I thought like that was the coolest thing. I love physiological things. And also the ascension, when we do have physical symptoms, that is also part of our school, going through a gate to accept pain as a sensation and not judge it as wrong. There are so many layers to everything during this ascension, but definitely working with the non-physical, there are many layers. It's not just one answer. So just be open to it. But yes, there's a lot of things going on. I know, shocking.
Oh yeah, that's so true, Isabelle. And I'll open it up to you guys to talk about this question. And you know, it's interesting too, because I mean the guidance that I receive, even for me personally, I know that's happening also on a collective level, but you know, we are activating our galactic DNA within us. Yes, guess what? We're much more than human. Yes, you know, like all of us have this within us too. It's, you know, junk, you know, what we call the science. I mean, Isabelle can speak of this too. I know you guys can as well. The, you know, our junk DNA that I've termed it, it was made dormant for a reason for this time, because now we are ready as a collective to activate that. So this DNA is actually our galactic DNA, because guess what, guys? We as a human collective were seeded from ETs. Yes. If you didn't know already, here's the announcement. So this is where a lot of these abilities that we receive is from this DNA. It's from also multidimensional lives who are already existing in ET form. We're kind of bringing that forth into the present now. So, and this is why as well, there's a lot of physical ascension symptoms. And I know for me personally, like that's the guidance I received for me, is that I'm actually activating galactic DNA, and that's why a lot of my symptoms now are so physical. So that's another explanation. And what Isabelle said, yes, and sometimes they are very strange. It's okay. When I started to do the light language alchemy, guess what? I thought that was a bit weird. I didn't know about light language, and I was in meditation, and they said, oh, start singing. I'm like, okay, I'm going to start singing. And I started toning, and I started to see all these lights, all these energies. I'm like, what the F? What is going on? You know? So yes, it seems a bit crazy, right? Like, what the hell? Like, I understand that we're bringing forth abilities that never been expressed, you know, before on Earth. Yes, it might have similarities, but not exactly, because it's coming through you, and you are a unique frequency. So it's about just embracing it. Who cares if it's weird or seems crazy, because we're activating all these wisdom abilities within us. So yeah, like what Isabelle said, be in the present moment, be fine-tuned to your guidance, and whether that is, you know, doing an activity, whether that is, you know, sharing some wisdom, you know, document it if that helps you. But yeah, we're actually going through not just energetic shifts, it's actual physical shifts, because there's no separation between the non-physical and physical. So if we collectively change our collective consciousness, guess what? Our physical body also has to shift, because there's no separation. Our body is divine. It is a vessel. And yes, I've recently been able to discover I can actually channel physical beings, like actually our physical vessel, what we call. I've recently had the pleasure of having that experience. I have this ability that's now being activated within me. It's a very new ability for me. And so I've been able to get that insights from that experience too. So yeah, everything's working together. And it's I mean, we'll talk about later like how to help with the ascension symptoms, but guys, panelists here today, do you guys want to jump in and discuss more about that question about the, now I've got to find the question about the carbon crystalline body, what's happening at the moment? Do you guys have anything to share?
Yeah, just one thing is, if I may, it's that this change in the body is something that is ongoing. It's not just the change at the right transformation of body that is happening now from this state to a new state, is that we have already changed our body to come to this moment. So that our body 10, 20 years ago was completely different in its structure and in its everything. So it's this shift, this building up of this new body, crystalline body that we are going to have when we are going to have it. But it's going to come as a body that is new, but that is still our body. We are still seeing ourselves and everyone else in a certain way. And then suddenly it's not the same body of 20, 50, 100 years ago. Anyone else?
Yeah. We talk about symptoms. Now let's give some of the things then, how we integrate those things in coming off of what Izzy said. So first off, I looked at the body as a perspective of a co-creator. I don't own the body, I own my point of view. I'm my truth, that's my kingdom. Everything else is my minions coming to me to give me an experience, and my body is one of those infinite number of singularities, the cell, the blood, everything is all part of creation, knowing itself as the expression of co-creating with me a body. So the body's going to change because I'm changing. So the frequency changes and the collective changes. So those changes, what I wanted to say is slow down to speed up. I want humans. I watch TV ads over the years, the things. I was in the car business, so I became a big fan of humanity, to understand the intricacies of the working of the belief systems way before. And I started realizing something, that they really don't care about the outcome as long as they got what they wanted in that moment to a satisfied point, and then they go to the next thing, the next thing, and the next thing. So they're always becoming but never being. So when you started being something, right, and you're getting ascension symptoms, slow down to speed up. Don't try to fix it right away. Slow it down and let it integrate through you, because that tells you the story behind it. Like when Kimberly said, dark things are not bad things. No, there's nothing bad in creation. This is all discovery, guys. We can't get this creation anywhere else. This is a human experience with a human perspective that gives us a human portion of reality that is created by a creator, right? So we get to do this, but not as in like ownership of like, oh, I get to be a human. But no, we're choosing this experience. So slow it down a little bit. Slow down to speed up. Don't be the appetical idea of like, okay, this is that. Give me an answer, and then keep going and going and going, because then you spend a lifetime going and you're never being. So that's the one thing about slowing down and being the moment of whatever that ascension symptom is, in the state of mind to not react to it, but to respond to it. There was a responsibility and the ability to respond. The responsibility is human. The ability to respond is the awakener. We understand it. We notice it. We're not in peril. We can't die. We're invincible. We're singularities. We're forever la-di-da-di. Everybody experience what you have attracted to yourself, or the exploration of the kingdom or the gestalt that you are as a singularity, all that is. Okay. The DNA unlocking. I channeled this with Osifius years ago, 2014. So the DNA is unlocked by frequency. So the frequency run across. I'm so silly. Okay, so say the human collective is on this wavelength, and the body's here. So the body is getting hit by a wavelength passing through the body at so many frequencies. But as we change the resonance, instead of hitting twice in a certain area, it's hit 5 or 6 times. So we're unlocking the DNA because our standardized or our collective plateau is better. We staged ourselves to a new frequency as a commonality, and that is a higher frequency rate. Low C compared to a middle C, or if you want a music term to it. So we're moving at a higher frequency rate, like 444, 441, 440, whatever. And that rate is DNA unlocking. That's the combination. It doesn't unlock until it gets, we getting there. So we're unlocking those abilities, those galactic ideas, Homo Galacticus, Homo Divinicus, label it what you want. It's your kingdom, rock and roll, but there's change going on, and those are part of the changes. Now, you may not be privy to understanding in a logical point that you can reference to an idea of an outside standard, but you don't need to, because you're this. This is you. This is your world. You're okay choosing the truth behind that and understanding it through paying attention, slowing down, and being the integrated self and owning your own existence and not putting a parlay or up for debate with someone else's standards. So there you go.
Awesome. There's guys, I don't know if you guys have time. There's one more question. If you guys want to talk, and then maybe we'll after that close and just give any tips, wisdom about how to ease ascension symptoms. So I just lost it there. The question is it Angie? I hope I'm pronouncing it right. She says, my ears are constantly draining, popping, ringing. Sometimes I get dizzy briefly. Is this ear thing trying to activate messages I'm meant to physically hear? This is very common. So yeah, guys, open up to whoever wants to talk about that.
I'll pop in because this happens to me all the time. So Angie, when it's a high frequency, I know it's the non-physical team because they vibrate very high. And so you'll hear a high pitched sound. But I would say, pay attention. What were you thinking? What were you saying in that moment? Sometimes they swoop down and you hear this high pitch ringing. And every once in a while, I'll hear a deep reverberation in my ear, and it sounds like a jet plane going by, and I'm like, oh, okay. So I do hear things, and I do get dizzy very quick. And Kimberley, Lakishma, she channels Lakishma, and when that was first happening to me, because I thought something was seriously wrong with me, getting dizzy all the time, for crying out loud. What was happening was I was moving into new dimensions. So Max was talking about it, Roxanne is talking about it. It is a frequency. There is no separation in time. And so our body is catching up to our new dimension, because we always change non-physically first, that then goes into the body, if that makes any sense to you, if you can envision that. So we change over here, our beliefs, our internal beliefs, that's not physical, it's the non-physical part of us, right? And that changes, that affects our body and what we have. But congratulations to hearing high-pitched sound. Who would have thought that that was going to be so fun, that your guides are talking to you? So that's wonderful.
Hey, I'd like to add a little something about that. So I've been having high-pitched buzzing, so loud that I couldn't hear like people that were talking to me, and I had to ask them to repeat. And I would go to a concert and I couldn't hear really the musicians because it was so loud. And I was in a lot of resistance about it because, of course, I wasn't attributing it to anything spiritual. I just thought I was getting old and this was another problem. And the resistance was interesting because it allowed me to look at my fears, my attachment to how others perceive me, my attachment to how I perceive myself. And it's been really interesting because it's been going on about 2 years. And now it's such a beautiful tool for meditation, because as soon as I go to meditate and I just close my eyes, it allows me to connect to the divine so quickly now. And, that's just one of the things. It's like, it's like what everybody else has been saying. We can live through these things. And if we don't have them, we can decide that we're not worthy, or we must not be as advanced as Isabelle or Roxanne, or, just accept exactly what is. And don't let that be another excuse for not feeling worthy, first of all. And then secondly, there's just so there's so many things going on that if I take each one and have a judgment about it, I'm still on that old game and working in that old operating system. So I think the observer stand helps a lot, and I can't keep up with it all really, but withdrawing the judgment and just going through it and knowing I am a unique expression of source. I am on my path. It's not Isabel's path or Max's path. It's mine. I've never been dizzy, not once. Okay. So yeah, so the buzzing, it can interfere sometimes, but I just keep breathing, and also sometimes I am called to stop and listen to my guides and listen to the message. So when it gets really loud, I just take a time out to go and do that. So it's worth investigating. Thanks.
It's wonderful. And, you know, yeah, with the tuning, I just want to quickly share an interesting story. So this was, I don't know, a few weeks ago. Yes, you know, I've had frequent tuning and things like that, but this is a very unique experience that I've had. So I was lying in bed, and because my ability is I can clairvoyance, where I see a lot of non-physical as well as, you know, trance channeling. But I was lying there and I was like wide awake, and then I could hear like this tuning in my ear. I'm like, that's interesting. And I could see, it looked like a dimension that just opened up. And I kid you not, I was lying there, the back of my head on the pillow. My head wasn't physically moved. Like I was lying there and my head naturally went to the side and went to the other side. And this happened for like 1 hour. And they popped in, and basically it was the Arcturians doing little tune-ups on me, did little activations. So yeah, this can happen too. So I was literally, they moved my head, and then as I moved on my head, the ear that was exposed, I like this really, really high-pitched noise. And then in my vision of sight, I could see like this portal opening up. So it's like they're working through me through like portals, right? It was so cool and like very interesting. And I could see something opening up. So they were working on me on like through a dimension, and then they would put me to the other side very slowly. But I was like doing this basically for 1 hour. So anyway, I just thought I'd share that interesting story. So there's a lot of different, obviously, things happening for us. Yes, there, like what Isabelle said, and Nikki, there are messages. It's also us fine-tuning our frequency, and this can also include us going through certain activations. That was like, so that example, that was the case of me. I was just going through certain activations that Arcturians were giving me. And I don't know why, but it seems to always come at night. But anyway, so anyway, that's another little cool example of the ringing of the ears. And it's just everything recalibrating your body, your vessel, activating the galactic DNA, you recalibrating to high dimensions of consciousness. So like I said, everything is connected. Mind, body, spirit is one. There is no separation. So it's actually, you know, and actually that's a good note to open it up to everybody here, just while we finish. Any kind of tips, wisdom that you might have about how we deal with the ascension symptoms. So I'll just begin and say that, you know, with all the teachings that come through me, or we would say the most prominent piece of advice that comes through is grounding to Gaia, Mother Earth. And I know that, you know, parts of the world, it's very cold and snowing, and yes, it might be difficult, but there are so many ways you can connect to Gaia. So basically, information has said that there are ascension codes. There are codes within elements of Gaia, because we are part of Gaia. We are born on Gaia, which means we have basically Gaia DNA within us. So because we're part of her, we were born on this earth, she can help us in so many ways. And yes, she, in case you didn't know, she is an intelligent being. She is our mother in physical form. So basically, when you consciously connect with elements of Gaia, could be, you know, the wind, could be the ground, those energies, what they do is they come within us and they help activate codes already within us. And this will help us to ground and ease these ascension symptoms. I know, like for me, for instance, in a period of, they're very intense for me. Like I remember last weekend, I was basically, I had to lie on the couch all weekend. I couldn't even sit up. It was that bad. Like, no, it's not bad, but it was so intense. I couldn't even sit up. The ascension symptoms were so intense. I had to be horizontal for like 2 days. And when I did have enough energy to like stand up, I have it. Luckily, I have a backyard, and yeah, just barefoot on the grass, a few minutes, consciously connecting to Gaia. Make your intentions. Go barefoot is very powerful. If you can, I know not everywhere in the world maybe it's possible because of the weather, but if you can't go barefoot, you know, can you open a window? Can you feel the wind on your face and feel the energy and make the intention? You can imprint energy. We're you know, we're collaboratively, you know, experiencing physical reality with the help of Gaia. So you can use all these elements. I mean, there's so many tips. Open it up. You can even imprint water as well to assist you. You can make your intentions into the water. One of the really cool techniques is that, you know, make your intention. And those of you who want to do a bit of research, or the sciencey people, I know Isabelle's very sciencey, go research Dr. Emoto. And there's a lot of science around that. So you can make your intentions. If you are experiencing symptoms, you can go, okay, I intend for this water that when I drink it, it'll assist me with these essential symptoms. Make your intention. You can vocalize, you can visualize a golden, a light coming through you into the water. You can visualize it coming, you know, down from the crown of your head, a beam of light into your heart center, out into the palms of your hand. And as you make your intention, see the beam going into the water. You will be able to see for yourself, taste for yourself. There's a difference of taste. So you can, there's so many ways, but Gaia for me has been the go-to for Ascension symptoms. Even if it's like 1 minute, somehow expose yourself to nature, make the intention to connect, feel the energy into your heart center, and, you know, it will help with your, the grounding process. So yeah, guys, yeah, whoever wants to talk about that. Yeah.
I wanted to say something back on that question with Anya out there. Look, I need you to read what you did. This is the awareness part that you have to get. You have to become assassin about. You have to become a sniper. You have to realize your own words, your own vibrational relationship to reality. Is this ear thing trying to activate message I'm meant to physically hear? Did you hear him? Did you fail? You didn't hear him? Were you meant to do that? Did you miss him? What's your relationship with meant and not being able to get it? Creation doesn't fail. It's interpretation. We can't fail. Meant to be means if it's meant and I miss it, did I miss something? Now you have a relationship with meant. Meant is attraction. It never not there. Meant is here, here, here. Look, it's all still here. I'm still meant to be here. If I have a purpose about that meant to have an outcome and I miss it, then I'm going to have a relationship with failure. Look at that. How about this? I'm getting popping and ringing into my ears. Sometimes I get breathily. Can you describe this? But what your mind did is your mind took it to a causality, took it to something that your mind interpreted. That's where you got to become sniper. You got to let that mind alone and be the moment and allow the integration to occur and let it tell you the story. We're always putting stories on things. Yeah. I bet your sweet ass a lot of you reacted when COVID all of a sudden came to the world. I bet you guys like, oh, no mask, oh, this, it's not real. You reacted to the input without the experience of it, right? So you got to understand that that is a reality of change and you cannot put something on it. You have to allow it to be. You're not going to fail it because no one's judging, no one's in charge, there's no gold stars, there's no finish line, there's no graduation. We're creators having a co-created reality to experience a portion of the unknown parts of creation that we see ourselves. So meant to be is the meant of the now as a probability, but don't label it in a construct of polarity. Then you have to value that polarity and manage that polarity. Not wrong, choice. Then you get to do that. It's not meant or not meant in the idea it's meant because it's here. But don't label what the meant is. Is it a message from my guides? What if I miss it? I don't understand what they're saying. I don't hear anything physical, but I'm a hell of a freaking channel. I can tell you that. I know that, right? Because that's my kingdom. So the physical or non-physical sound or sound, find your journey, darling. But make sure you're looking at the way you're reacting to it as the humbling self that is ascending the human consciousness of structure to the evolutionary human divine that is creating a human and not being a reaction to the human, okay? All right, go ahead.
Does anyone else have, I love what you said, Roxanne, very, very true. Guys, before, just as we're finished, do you guys have any wisdom about how our viewers can assist with Ascension symptoms? Does anyone else have any tips,
I'd like to go.
wisdom? Yep.
Okay, so a couple of things. One thing is if you have something that's an ascension symptom, like a rash, okay, yes, treat it, put a cream on it, something, but don't put energetic attention to it because it is transitional. It is just passing through your body, right? Because I have noticed that if I'm really irritated about that rash, guess what? It's going to hang around for a very long time. And then suddenly, if my attention is directed elsewhere, it starts to clear up. This is not by accident. And then the second thing, jazz hands, Roxanne. Roxanne's here doing her motions with me. But the other thing is, so being that feeling of being between dimensions, right, is not just to be embracing that there are multiple timelines that we shift to all the time. And just speaking from personal experience, this is a really silly story, but it illustrates a point, is that, so there was one time when my husband and I first got together, there was one time where I bought at the grocery store pre-sliced mushrooms and I took them home because we were going to use the mushrooms in some dish, right? Well, my husband was like, well, why didn't you get whole ones? I prefer to chop them, myself. I don't need them pre-chopped. Okay, all right, I'll buy whole mushrooms next time. Well, here recently, he made pasta ragu and we're going to put mushrooms in it, and I bought the whole ones. And he's there like, why did you buy whole ones? I always want them pre-sliced. It's easy. It takes a step out of the process. And I'm going, wait a second. And then I was like, oh, okay. I shifted to another timeline where hubby prefers them pre-sliced. So this is really key, not to judge yourself like, am I going, as a friend of mine would say, I'm not going neck and futz. It's just be loosey-goosey, like Isabelle says. Be free flow, and that things may not add up right. Because here's the thing, there is a universal law of continuity, but as those of us who are coming into our awareness as multidimensional beings, we have these tiny little peaks at the non-continuity and embrace it.
Wonderfully said, Daniel.
Booyah.
Anyone else have anything to share?
I'll just pop in. So I'm sure the folks on the panel are going to laugh, but just go with the flow. It's all okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. And if you have to repeat that over and over, and be curious. I mean, isn't it cool that you're having physical things? How cool is that? That you get to experience like ringing in the ears or dizziness or no dizziness or feeling like you're having a heart attack. How cool is that? So just play, it's okay, and just say, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. That's all I wanted to say.
It's okay because Isabelle says it's okay.
That's right. If you have to use me as an excuse.
And don't forget to breathe.
So it's okay then, right?
It's
So
okay.
it's okay.
It's okay. That can be let's put that as a model. It's okay, for everything. Just and Roxanne, I love you brought up the yes man. Oh my God, it's so good. Because it's basically saying yes to life.
Yes to
allowing.
life. Where's it going to go? Not his old life, his new life.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I love that movie. And if you guys haven't seen it, that's kind of a good analogy to law of attraction and how things work. Things are going to be presented to us. So we can have resistance or say yes to it. And we can say yes to our ascension symptoms. So how do we say yes? You allow it instead of being resistant to it. And yes, I know it can be challenging, especially when you have, a million projects to do and your body is telling you need to be like horizontal, rest, do nothing, your body is alerting you to what to do. So instead of being resistant to it, allow it, and it's going to be with you as long as it's necessary. So it's really about having patience, and I know it can be challenging, but you know, everything is happening to us, it's happening for us, right? Yeah. So yeah, what Isabelle said, be curious, be excited about it, because if you are having these symptoms, allow this to validate to you that you are expanding, that you are activating abilities. So have that, you know, excitement that, wow, what's going to happen when I move through these ascension symptoms? I'm going to not even recognize myself. I'm going to be, you know, I'm going to remember more of my oneness state. How cool is that? So, you know, no matter how difficult it might seem, if you can kind of keep this perspective that it's happening for you, right? And you are able to ease more easily through this by accepting, because who we are is love, right? So using the love frequency is acceptance. And if you can get to a point of accepting what's happening, you can raise it even further and be grateful for it. You can actually grow to love it, be excited about it. If you can get to a point of excitement, then your frequency is getting really high there. So, you know, it's just seeing everything that's happening for us as evidence of how powerful you are and how much you are expanding. So again, if you're not experiencing the symptoms, that is okay. You'll probably be feeling it on at least a subtle level. So just notice the emotions that arise, the resistance that comes through. Tell yourself, honestly ask yourself, are you afraid of your own power? Are you afraid of what people are going to see you as when you shift? Because I know, like, personally for me, I've just recently discovered that I had a belief around this and I didn't know it until very recently. That, yes, I've done all my processing, and then I'm like, and then it kind of was reflected back to me, and I'm like, wow, I have this belief that now all these things are happening for me, these really cool things. I have a belief that how are people going to perceive me as, you know? So, you know, and I know with all our multidimensional lives, past lives, many of us has, you know, especially if you've had a life when you were like a witch, for instance, you are burnt on the stake for, you know, for bring forth your wisdom. And there's many examples of, you know, the lives you've lived who have been persecuted for this. So understand that there might be part of your journey that you might have a fear to express your full power, and it's okay, but understand that it's about pushing past the fear. So when you are guided in the moment to do something, recognize it, it's for you. And like the movie, like the Yes Man, say yes to it anyway. Push past the fear, and you'll find by doing that, you'll surprise yourself, and you raise your frequency, and you'll be aligned to the next step of your journey. So it really is about saying yes to it all by loving acceptance, because that's who we all are. All right, well, everybody, I'll finish it off with now, this session. I know you guys have been patient. We did have a little late start, but yeah, we'll be doing this regularly. So the details of that, I guess, we'll organize that, and we'll share it with you guys on our individual social media channels, communities. But yeah, and also I will, if you want more information about the panelists here, I will put in everybody's links in this YouTube description. So I'll edit that into the description, and then you'll be able to, you know, find more information. If, you know, something that we said resonates with you, you want to delve deeper into it, you can. But yeah, we'll be alternating between YouTube channels for the live stream. So yeah, so just you know, keep your eyes open for the next round of the Ascension Roundtable. And it was such a pleasure to do this, the first premiere of the Ascension Roundtable. So much fun. Thank you all for joining. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for asking your questions. Yeah, I'll just, the panelists here today, do you guys want to have a say farewell to everybody before we finish here today? Any last words?
Love you guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Love you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you around the galaxy.
It's been wonderful. So, yep. Until next time, love and light to you all. Farewell.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.